Alright, what's up everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, we're going to be doing a redraft, the 2014 NBA Draft redraft. I did a video like this last year where I did it with the 2013 draft, 10 years later, redrafting that one. And so I decided let's do it again this year, but of course, now it's 2024, so let's do 10 years before the 2014 NBA redraft right now, and just kind of seeing how these players look now, what the draft would be like right now if we had the hindsight that we know now. This could also serve as kind of like a look at the draft and see what went right, what went wrong, stuff like that. So we'll do that here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn on notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. Join the membership. If you want to learn more about the membership, there's a video on my channel explaining all of it. You can go back and watch that. Like my Twitter, TikTok, stuff like that in the description down below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. Let's get it started with the first pick in the 2014 NBA redraft. The Cleveland Cavaliers select Nikola Jokic out of Serbia. Jokic, originally the number 41 pick, the 41st pick in the draft, had become the best player in the draft, potentially the best second round pick of all time. I mean, the 41st overall pick, he is Nikola Jokic. He's done so much. Reading off his accolades and stats real quick. NBA champion, Finals MVP, 3-time MVP, 6-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, Western Conference Finals MVP, and All-Rookie Team career averages of 21, 10, and 7 with the steal on 55% shooting. Nikola Jokic is incredible. I mean, he's arguably the best player in the world. That's just who he is. And yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say. I mean, Nikola Jokic is so good. There's not much more to say about how great he is. I mean, he's won MVP 3 of the past 4 seasons. He has been All-NBA first or second team each of the last 6 years that he's been an All-Star. He's incredible. And it's even looking back as a rookie, he finished top 3 in Rookie of the Year as well, which I don't even remember, but he did. Remembering it, I was like, oh yeah, he did. 10, 7, and 2 in his rookie year. Didn't come over it right away. He waited a year and then before coming over. But since then, he was good. Then next year, he was second in MIP voting, finished in MVP voting 13th again. The next year, 2019, that's where he really started popping off and becoming who we know Nikola Jokic is now. So yeah, Jokic, he's incredible. There's not much more to say. He finishes number 1 in the redraft, no question. With the second pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Milwaukee Bucks select Joel Embiid from Kansas. Embiid, another one of those players that's just like, there's not much more to say. He's dominant. For his career, MVP in 2023, 7-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, 3-time All-Defensive, 2-time scoring champion, All-Rookie Team, career averages of 28, 11, and 3 with 1.7 blocks. He's incredible. Joel Embiid is incredible. And you don't even, like, you might forget, but Embiid did not play his first 2 years in the NBA. His first 2 years, Joel Embiid did not play because of injury. Came in 2016 and 31 games. He averaged 20, finished top 3 Rookie of the Year. And that's, I think, we kind of knew, okay, this dude's going to be special. And since then, he's been an All-Star. He's been All-NBA, almost NBA, almost all of the year, besides 2 years where he was, injuries really affected him, which has been a thing. Injuries obviously has been affecting him and lack of playoff success. But besides that, Joel Embiid has been one of the most dominant players we've seen in a long time. Big man like him and Jokic as well. Like, we don't see guys like that anymore. Like, those guys got left in the 2000s and the 90s. Dominant centers that do the things that Joel and Jokic do. And Joel is so dominant. I mean, he's averaged 30 or more 3 years in a row. Last year, he averaged almost 35 points per game. He had a good case of winning another MVP, making All-NBA first team, maybe winning a scoring title again, if not for injuries. He only played 39 games. He was absolutely incredible, and he just keeps getting better. It's crazy. I mean, the dominance he shows. He can do everything. On the offensive end, he can get it anyway. He can get to the free throw line. He can score in the paint. He's a guy that has to be double teamed every time he touches the ball because that's just how dominant he really is. So Joel Embiid goes second in the redraft. No much question about it. With the third pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Julius Randle from Kentucky. Randle, now it is a big drop off from Embiid and Jokic, 2 MVP star caliber players, to now you get Julius Randle, but Julius Randle still has a really, really good case. He finishes 3rd in the redraft. He originally went 7th overall for his career. 3-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, 1 Most Improved in 2021. Career averages of 19, 9, and 3. Randle, it's great to see what he's become and what we think of Julius Randle. I mean, he started his career, his NBA debut, he broke his leg. He broke his leg his NBA debut. Then came back with the Lakers, played a couple good years, had a good year in 2018 where he finished top 5 in MIP voting. Then had a good year with the Pelicans, then came to New York. His first year in New York, he was all right. But then 2021 is already broken out. 24, 10, and 6, won MIP, made All NBA second team, finished top 10 in MVP voting. Then a little down year in 22, 20, 10, and 5. 2023 popped back up with 25, 10, and 4. All NBA third team, All Star. Then last year, before he got hurt, he averaged 24, 9, and 5 and made the All Star team, which is crazy because if you remember, Randall started the year off not good. His first 2 weeks, he was pretty bad. So to see him come back and average 24, 9, and 5 in the games he did play is incredible. So Randall has he's taken his career up to being just a solid player, I guess, in his first couple years, to now being an All NBA caliber player in New York. Him doing this in New York too, in the biggest market, is incredible as well. So yeah, credit to Julius Randle. With the fourth pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Orlando Magic select Zach LaVine out of UCLA. LaVine originally was the 13th pick. He jumps up to now the fourth pick. LaVine is really, really good. I mean, say what you want right now about the trade value and the contract and the injuries that have taken place. But at the end of the day, LaVine is great. For his career, two-time All-Star, All-Rookie team, career averages of 25 and 5 on 38% shooting from three. He's been great. I mean, to come in where he got drafted in his first couple years in Minnesota, he was known as a dunker. Like when he won the dunk contest and took the league by storm in that regard, from him being that to being where he is now, where he went to Chicago. In Chicago, he's a bucket getter. He's just a straight up scorer. I mean, beside his first year in Chicago, where he only played 24 games because he was coming back from an ACL injury, 23, 25, 27, 24, 24. Last year was 19 because of injuries and stuff. But he's been a consistent, in his 7 years in Chicago, he's averaging 24 points per game. He's just shooting, and efficiently too. Like he had a year he shot almost 50, 40, 90 in 21, and we averaged 27 points per game. I mean, that's incredible. So yeah, LaVine, really, really good. He finishes top 5 in this redraft. With the 5th pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Utah Jazz select Andrew Wiggins out of Kansas. Wiggins, of course, was originally the number 1 overall pick in this draft. And there was a lot of talk about Wiggins and his career, where did he live up to number 1 pick? And he was highly touted coming out of high school, college. He was the consensus. He was the number 1 guy. Had a lot of hype around him. Did he live up to that hype? No. But does that mean he has a horrible career? No. For his career, NBA champion, 1-time All-Star, won Rookie of the Year in this class, 2015 All-Rookie, career averages of 18, 4, and 2 with a steal per game. That's still pretty solid. Again, did he live up to number 1 pick expectations? No. But he's had a pretty solid career. Going to Minnesota where he put up the numbers, but didn't really equate to a lot of winning and success. Came to Golden State, had a good first year. And then 2022 where he was an all-star starter and was the second best player on a championship team. That's where Wiggins was at his highest. And that's where he showed he was one of the best role players in the game at that point. Now, the last 2 years have been tough for Wiggins. He's dealing with a lot of stuff. Hasn't played a lot of games. Last year was actually probably his worst year in the NBA. He averaged only 13 points per game, which is the lowest ever by a little margin. So right now, it's not the best for Andrew Wiggins. But for his career, he's been pretty solid. Like, if Andrew Wiggins was the number 8 through 10 or 11 pick, you would look at his career and be like, oh, that's pretty good for an 8, 9, 10, 11 pick. But I think it's just because you have the number 1 pick status to his name, you're always going to remember he's the number 1 overall pick. That's where it's kind of like, well, number 1 pick, this isn't really much for a number 1 overall pick. But still a pretty solid career. With the 6th pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Boston Celtics select Jordan Clarkson from Missouri. Clarkson, originally the number 46 overall pick, and he ends up being the 6th pick in the redraft. Clarkson, any guy picked number 46 or even in the second round probably would love to have a career Jordan Clarkson has had. For his career, 6th man of the year in 2021, all-rookie team, career averages of 16, 3, and 3. He's been great to be a number 46 overall pick. When you draft a 46 overall pick, you don't really have expectations for him. You would think, well, if he can make it to a second contract, if he could be a decent 8, 9, 10 man in rotation and have a good 8 to 10 maybe year career, that's great for 40. So you surpass your expectations. But to have a career like Jordan Clarkson, where he's been a consistent, he won 6th man of the year, he's been a consistent bucket getter, and is one of the best, 6th man in the league. That's pretty good. It started early when he was a rookie with the Lakers. He would finish top 10 in Rookie of the Year. Then he had some good years with the Lakers, went to Cleveland, who was pretty solid. Utah's where everything clicked, where in his first full year as a Jazz member, won Sixth Man of the Year, averaged 18 points. Next year, finished top 5 in Sixth Man of the Year voting. 2023 averaged almost 21 points per game. Last year was probably one of his most complete seasons, averaged 17 points, career high 5 assists. Efficiency wasn't there, but with his role, he's one of those guys where just scoring, come off the bench and give me some buckets. He's going to take a lot of shots, but he also has the confidence to be like, hey, I'm going to live or die with my shots, and whatever happens, happens. So Jordan Clarkson, for him to be a 46 overall pick, for him to have the career he's had, now he's a top 10 player in the redraft. That's pretty nice. With the 7th pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Los Angeles Lakers select Clint Capella out of Switzerland. For some reason, I don't know why, I thought Clint Capella was a second round pick. I feel like he just had the vibe of a second round pick, but originally he was 25th, so almost second round, late first round pick. But Capella has been pretty good. Now, when you look at his accolades and stats and stuff, you don't really think much of it. His only accolade he won, he led the league in rebounding in 21, rebounding champion for his career. Averages 12 points, 10 rebounds, and 1.5 blocks on 62% shooting. That's pretty solid. Nothing crazy, but Capella has just been one of the most consistent centers in the NBA the last couple years. Started in Houston, where his third year he really started breaking out, and then from there on out, he just was a consistent guy with the good Houston Rockets teams. With James Harden, he was James Harden's safety net, where he just throw it up to him, Capella's gonna catch it. He just has had, and then even in Atlanta too with Trae Young, like he's been one of the more consistent bigs in the league because you know what you're gonna get from him. He's a guy that's gonna rebound the ball pretty well. He's gonna block shots, and he's gonna catch lobs. That's all he needs to do, and he does that at one of the higher levels in the NBA. I mean, he's been a starter in this league for the past beside his first 3 years, he started almost every game he's played in. He's been a consistent starter, and even in his third year, where he popped off, he started in every game except 6 of them. So he's been a consistent, just starting level big in the NBA because he just has a simple job and he does at a great level. So shout out to Clint Capella. With the 8th pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Sacramento Kings select Marcus Smart from Oklahoma State. Marcus Smart originally the 6th pick, so he drops out a couple spots, but still finishes in the top 10. Smart, for his career, he's been really good as well for his accolades. Defensive Player of the Year in 2022, 3-time All-Defensive Team, All-Rookie Team, career averages of 10, 3, and 4 with over a steal and a half per game. Smart has been great. He was the backbone and the heart of the Boston Celtics for a very long time. Now he's in Memphis, where he had a good year statistically, even though inflated numbers because he only played in 20 games. But now he's in Memphis. But I mean, he's just a fan favorite guy. Guy that just plays hard, hustles hard, loves to play defense, which is rare to see, especially from a guard. And it's just great. I mean, winning Defensive Player of the Year as a guard is pretty incredible. Like, even if deserve, not deserve, who cares? Winning Defensive Player of the Year as a guard is just really, really great. So credit to Marcus Smart. And hopefully he continues this now in Memphis. With the 9th pick in the 2024 NBA, 2014. Have I said 2024? I might have said 2024 once or twice. I'm very sorry about that. But with the 9th pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Charlotte Hornets select Aaron Gordon out of Arizona. Gordon originally the 4th pick. He drops down a little bit, but still finishes in the top 10. Gordon has been a guy that, you love to see the career arc he's been on. For his career, his only award is a championship. He won an NBA championship in 2023. For his career, averages 13.5 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. So nothing absolutely spectacular, but a really good career. And just the arc he's been on, like starting in Orlando, where it took a little while for him to really get it going. But once he did, he was pretty solid in Orlando. People thought maybe he could be an all-star. Maybe he could pop off and be, a key piece for the Orlando Magic going forward. That didn't really work out. He kind of stunted. Like you thought he was gonna hit another level, and he never hit that next level. Then he gets traded to Denver, and he's one of the best role players in the NBA, and it was a very key part in winning an NBA championship. Like, what more we want to see? Where Gordon, he had high expectations, was a high pick, didn't really reach those, but still managed to carve out a role for himself and be a very important piece in the NBA. Like in Denver, he's been incredible. Again, he's one of the best role players in the league. Any team would love to have an Aaron Gordon type of player, and to see that career trajectory go is just incredible. So shout out to Aaron Gordon. With the 10th pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Jeremy Grant out of Syracuse. This pick ends up going to the Orlando Magic. Grant, originally the 39th pick in this draft, ends up finishing the top 10 in the redraft. Grant, again, another guy where his career trajectory has just been crazy. For his career averages of 13, 4, an assist and a block on 45% shooting. Starting in Philadelphia, where he got drafted, where he was just a dunker, just a guy that come off the bench, get a couple dunks in, get a block or two, bring some energy off the bench, just like an 8th, 9th man. Went to OKC, was solid, had a breakout year a little bit in 2019, had a good year in Denver. And the last 4 years, he's been great. I mean, last 4 years, he's averaged almost 20 points per game in each of those years. 2 years in Detroit, he averaged 21. 2 years in Portland, he's averaged 20. And has gotten some pretty nice contracts. So shouts to him for also being a great back securer as well. But to see his career start where he was just a energy guy as like coming off the bench and just dunking, which is what you know him for, to now being a consistent 20 point per game scorer, pretty nice efficiency in the NBA on 40% shooting from three is just great. Like you never would expect. Like you watch his rookie tape in Philly and watch last year's tape, that's a completely different person. That's not the same Jeremy Grant. That's a completely different guy. So huge credit to Jeremy Grant for working hard, and once he finally was able to, show himself, he did it in a big way. So credit to him for doing that. Now outside the top 10, finishing up the lottery with the 11th pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Denver Nuggets select Bogdan Bogdanovic from Serbia. This pick ends up going to the Chicago Bulls. Bogdanovic was originally the 27th pick in this draft, ends up going to the lottery. Bogdanovic has just been one of the more consistent off the bench scorers and shooters in the NBA. For his career, made all rookie team when he came over. He did take a couple years to come over. He didn't come over until 2017. Career averages of 14, 3, and 3 with a steal on 38% shooting from three. He's been great. Ever since he's come to the league in Sacramento, he has been just really, really good. His last couple years in Atlanta, he's been good. Finished top 10 X-Mix Man of the Year 2 times. Finished top 5 last year. Last year was his best year. He averaged 17 points per game last year. But consistent, has multiple years shooting over 40% from three. Another year where he shot 39% from three. Just efficient shooter, efficient scorer, guy that you trust with the ball in your hands. Just a really, really good basketball player in general. So, yeah, Bogdan Bogdanovic, just really nice. And what interested to see what he does in Atlanta this year. What role is he going to play? Like, I could see a world he is a starter, potentially for Atlanta. Like, with the way that things are, I can see that happening. But I won't bet on it, but I can see a world where that does happen. But we'll see. With the 12th pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Orlando Magic select Spencer Dinwiddie out of Colorado. This pick ends up going to the Philadelphia 76ers. Dinwiddie, originally the 38th pick in this draft, he jumps up to lottery. But Dinwiddie has had a very interesting career. His first 2 years in Detroit, where he was just kind of there, played 34 games, then 12 games, just kind of was around. No one knew who he was. Got picked up by Brooklyn. First year in Brooklyn, he was all right. Became a rotational player. Then he popped off, finishing in MIP race 3 years in a row. Had a year where he averaged 20 points and 7 assists per game. I mean, that's great. That is great. And then has been around, been a journeyman the last couple of years. Was in Washington, Dallas, Brooklyn, came back, then was with the Lakers last year. Now he's back in Dallas. Has been a journeyman. Last year was not a great year for him, statistically. But Dinwiddie, for him to be a 38th overall pick and have the first 2 years of his career where he was a nobody, to have the career he's had where he is a consistent point guard in this league, a big point guard that can get to the rim, loves getting the mid-range, can facilitate. He's really solid. And to have a career like this, like where you look at the start and look at where he is now, you would have expected it. But yeah, this is a draft specifically where there's a lot of guys like that. I mean, already we've had 4 second round picks in the top 12. 4 guys that were originally second round picks. 2 guys that were in the 40s drafted that end up in the redraft being top 12 lottery picks. Like, that's pretty incredible. With the 13th pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Minnesota Timberwolves select Jusuf Nurkic out of Bosnia. Nurkic has had a pretty solid career in his own right for his awards and stuff. Made all-rookie team. Career averages of 12 points, 9 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and a block per game on 50% shooting. But he's just been a really, really solid center. I mean, he started off in Denver, where he was all right, had some good moments. Then he went to Portland, and that's where he's popped off. Played a long time in Portland. Has been a starter in his career since 2017. He started in every game he's played in. That's pretty good. Played a long time. Once he got to Portland, 14 points, 15 and 10, 17, 10, and 4 with 2 blocks. Now, he only played 8 games that year because he came off a broken leg injury. Then 11, 15, 11, 13. Last year, averaged 11 and 11. Just a consistent double-double threat. Guy that uses his size to his advantage, being an interior presence, scoring in the paint, rebounding. Pretty solid defender. Guy that you trust to make some passes because he has good IQ. Just a really solid center. Really solid career, and now is a lottery pick in the redraft. Jumps up a little bit. With the 14th pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Phoenix Suns select Gary Harris out of Michigan State. Harris originally the 19th pick in this draft. He jumps up a little bit into the lottery to end out the lottery. Harris has been pretty solid. Started his career, honestly, probably his best years were at the start of his career in Denver. His first couple years in the league, he was really good. I mean, he had a year where he averaged 17.5 points per game in 2018. Injuries have played a big factor. He hasn't played since that year, since 2018. He hasn't played more than 61 games in a season. Injuries have really taken a toll. But he's transformed himself into being a really solid role player. A guy that any team would really want, a guy like Gary Harris. He's going to shoot the three ball at a pretty good clip. I mean, the last couple years, he shot, 38, 43, 37% from three. And be a pretty solid defender. Is he an elite defender, all defensive type dude? No, but he's good enough to get the job done. And so for him to transition where injuries have taken a lot of athleticism and stuff for him to transition to being a guy that can transform and you can put him on any team and he can find a way for himself, that's really good. That's what you want a player like that to do. So credit to Gary Harris. Now we're outside the lottery. With the 15th pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Atlanta Hawks select Kyle Anderson out of UCLA. Anderson originally the 30th pick, so he moves up now to the end of from the end of the first round to the halfway point of the first round. That's pretty nice. But Anderson for his career, when you look at him statistically, look at his basketball reference, you would think, okay, it's Kyle. What does he do? For his career, averages 7, 4, and 2 with the steal, 48% shooting. You wouldn't really think much of it. But Kyle Anderson is one of those guys that impacts the game without having to fill up the box score, without having to put up 20, 25, and do all of that. He impacts the game in many other ways. He can defend pretty well, very versatile. He can be a point guard, kind of. He has a facilitating ability. He rebounds the ball pretty well, scores efficiently in the paint. He just does all the other things. Does a lot of things that don't show up in the stat sheet. That's what Anderson does. So he'll have a game where he has 7 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists with a steal or two. But it'll be a very impactful 7, 5, and 4. And a guy that that's why do you think he still has a job? Why do you think he just got paid with the Golden State Warriors? Because that's what he does. He's a guy that's a smart basketball player that makes an impact without having to score, and have the best numbers. Even his game. You watch his game, and I mean, he's nicknamed Slow-Mo for a reason. Everything he does is kind of slow. Doesn't have athleticism, isn't the most crazy highlights or anything like that, but just knows how to get the job done. That's why he's been in the league for so long. With the 16th pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Chicago Bulls select TJ Warren out of NC State. This pick ends up going to the Denver Nuggets. Warren, originally the 14th pick, so he falls a little bit out of the lottery, but still stays in the mid-first round. Warren had did some pretty good things in his career. Injuries and stuff have cut a lot that short for his career. Averages of 14 points, 4 rebounds, 50% shooting. His first 2 years in the NBA, only played 40 games, 47 games. Then started to get going with Phoenix a little bit. Had a year he averaged 19 points, 18 points. Then the first year in Indiana really popped out. Played 67 games most of his career, averaged almost 20 a game. Of course, can't forget about the bubble. Bubble with TJ Warren was a thing. If you know, you know. Had a 53-point game. He had all bubble first team. He was spectacular there. And then after that, he hasn't really done much. I mean, he only played 4 games the next year due to injury. Did not play the entirety of 2022 due to injury. Last 2 years, he's played 42 games, 11 games last year in Minnesota, signed at the end of the year. Has just been kind of a journey around trying to make it back to the league, which is tough. Injuries, again, have taken so much from him and his older age. But he's a guy that when he was playing, he was a bucket getter. A guy that uses athleticism, uses body to get to the paint, shot really efficient all the time. I mean, shoots 50% for his career. Like that year, he averaged 20 points per game, shot 53% from the field and 40% from 3. I mean, for a guy that's not 7 foot, a guy that's not a big man, that's pretty impressive. For him to be able to get to the rim, love the mid-range game. The 3-point shot was very on and off, but when he was hitting, he was hitting. It's pretty nice. So it's unfortunate that his career is kind of taking the turn it has. But Warren, when he did play, he was nice. He was pretty solid. With the 17th pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Boston Celtics select Doug McDermott out of Creighton. McDermott originally the 11th pick in this draft. He falls down a little bit outside the lottery. McDermott had a great career at college. You know, a lot of people had some expectations for him coming out of college. I mean, senior year, he averaged 27 points per game on 54, almost 50, 40, 90. I mean, that's pretty good. So people had a lot of expectations for him coming into the NBA. Has he hit those expectations? No. But he still built a solid career for himself. Played almost 700 games in his career, averages of 9, 2, and 1 on 41% shooting from three for his career. That's pretty good. I mean, 41% shooting from three, when that's really all you're asked to do is shoot threes. That's pretty nice. Not a lot of people can do that. So credit to Doug McDermott for being able to do that. He's been a journeyman. He's been around the league. He's found his way back. I don't know if he's on a team right now. I can't tell you if he's on a roster right now or not. But McDermott, still pretty solid. Did it hit the expectations that a lot of people had on him? No. But still has played a long time in the NBA. And not a lot of other people can say that. So shout out to Doug McDermott. With the 18th pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Phoenix Suns select Dwight Powell out of Stanford. Powell was originally the 45th pick in the draft. Another guy that was a second round pick that ends up getting the redraft, getting a first round pick. Powell has had a pretty solid career, played 650 games. Well, and current, he's still in the NBA. Career averages of 7, 4, and 1 on 60% shooting from the field. A lot of people kind of dig on Dwight Powell, being like, what is he really, why is he around so long? What is it about Dwight Powell? But the thing Dwight Powell does well is that he's just a high IQ guy. First of all, on the court, I mean, he went to Stanford, you would think he's a high IQ guy. But actually, I like Dwight Powell the last couple of years. Like, Powell was just one of those guys that did what you asked him to do. He was a big man, even though he's undersized a little bit for a big man. He could make the right plays, shoot efficiently, was a lob threat. Defensively, he could hold his own. He was just solid. When you need him to come out there and do his thing, he did it. So credit to Dwight Powell. That's why he's around Dallas so long. And probably a good locker room guy. I mean, you don't stick around the league for, 11 years and have the numbers Dwight Powell has and not be a good locker room guy to while you're still in the league. Like, that's what Powell is. He's a guy that's for the team, does what he needs to do for the team. So that's why Dwight Powell has been around so long. With the 19th pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Chicago Bulls select Joe Harris out of Virginia. This pick ends up going to the Denver Nuggets. Joe Harris, actually surprisingly, coincidentally enough, did announce his retirement yesterday, which is kind of crazy because Joe Harris is one of those guys that I was a big fan of. Like, I love he was one of my favorite role players in the league. This guy was a sniper. Career averages of 10 points and 3 rebounds on 43% shooting from three for his career. He had 2 years in the NBA where he shot 47% from three. 47%, not just like cutting seasons. 76 games, 69 games. 47% shooting from three. And then multiple years. I mean, he had a stretch where he went 6 years in a row shooting 42% from three and higher. I mean, that's if you want to talk about elite 3-point shooting, that is elite 3-point shooting right there. I mean, Joe Harris, he was a sniper, was in Brooklyn. He was one of the best shooters in the league, won a 3-point contest, was really good. Unfortunately, injuries have really cut his career. Had an injury after 2021, just can never get himself back to what he was his last 2 years in Brooklyn. Then last year played in Detroit a little bit. And now he's retired at 32 years old. Kind of just shows how quickly things can just change like that and he can go. But still made a good career for himself, being another second round pick. He was originally 33rd, being a second round pick that ended up having a 10-year career and having some moments and making the most out of it, getting some money. To Joe Harris, and wish you the best in retirement. With the 20th pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Toronto Raptors select Dario Saric from Croatia. Saric originally was the 12th pick, so he drops out of the lottery, but still finishes in the top 20 for his career. Maori team, averages of 10, 5, and 2 for his career. Didn't come over for a little while, spent 2 years overseas, but came over. Finished second in Rookie of the Year in his rookie year. I mean, his best years probably were at the start of his career. His first 2 years in Philadelphia, where he averaged 12 and 6, finished second in Rookie of the Year. Then his second year, he averaged 14 points per game. Since then, he's been around the league, been on a couple different teams. Injuries have played a big factor in the last couple years of his career. Now he's in he's in Denver now. He was in Golden State last year. He's in Denver now. But he's a good basketball player. I mean, he's got the mold of a good basketball player. Big that has good touch, can shoot the 3-ball well, knows how to score in the paint. Decent defender, good ball handler, and playmaker for a big man. So yeah, that's what Dario Saric is. Again, unfortunately, injuries have taken a part. And I mean, back when he was in Philadelphia, I thought he was going to be a staple. I thought it was going to be him, Joel and Ben Simmons, and those guys are just gonna run the league. But it kind of makes sense now that Sarge is kind of the odd man out with Joel and Ben, and then they trade him for Jimmy Butler. So like, why wouldn't you? But Sarge still in the league right now, and he goes 20th in the redraft. With the 21st pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Maxi Kleber from Germany. Kleber originally undrafted, the first undrafted guy we've seen now get taken in the redraft. Undrafted to 21st, that's really, really nice. Kleber has found his way in the league. And he came over in 2017 with Dallas and has been really good. Career averages of 6 and 4 on 35% shooting from 3. Has been a really good backup big. A guy that defensively can hold his own. Now injuries have taken a part in the last couple years of his career, the last 2 years. But injuries aside, he was a really good defender for a little while. Good defender. A guy that can stretch the floor. Good 3-and-D backup forward center if you need him to. That's what he does. He's a little older now. Injuries have taken a part. But Kleber, to be able to have a career where he's played over 400 NBA games and 7, 8 years and counting while being undrafted, that's pretty nice. With the 22nd pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Memphis Grizzlies select Torrey Craig from USC Upstate. Craig, another undrafted guy, that ends up being in the first round here. Craig has built a pretty solid career for himself, being an undrafted guy. Career averages of 6 and 4 with an assist per game. Played over 430 games. Has been around the league. Has just been a really good. He's one of those guys where you think of wing rotational players on playoff teams. Torrey Craig is one of the guys you think of. Wing rotational guys. Can shoot the 3 ball pretty well. The last couple years he shot pretty well from 3. Shoot the 3 ball well. Is going to defend pretty solid. Just going to be, again, one of those guys that any playoff team will want, a Torrey Craig type player, because he can just come off the bench, play 20-something minutes, and give you some good run. That's what Torrey Craig has become. So for him to be an undrafted guy and be able to work his way into having a 7-year and counting NBA career, making some pretty good money, that's really nice. With the 23rd pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Utah Jazz select Elfrid Payton from Louisiana. Payton originally the 10th pick in this draft. He ends up falling down to 23rd. Payton, not in the league much longer. Not in the league anymore, for now at least. Didn't really find his way into living up for top 10 pick, but still has some good moments. In Orlando, finished top 5 rookie of the year. Has some solid moments in Orlando. His stats don't look bad. Then was around the league a little bit. In New York, he was a starting point guard for an entire season and a half. So that's pretty nice. Last played in 2022. He played 50 games in Phoenix. Good defender as a point guard and good facilitator as well. Just could never find that offensive. Just could never find his offense. But defensively and playmaking wise, pretty good. Pretty solid 8-year career. Played 500 games. Career averages of 10, 4, and 5 with a steal. Made an all-rookie team. So that's solid. With the 24th pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Charlotte Hornets select Rodney Hood out of Duke. This pick ends up going to the Miami Heat. Hood was originally the 23rd pick, so he drops 1 spot. Hood was a guy that I honestly, it's kind of crazy how fast Rodney Hood kind of fell out the league. Like Hood was a really good player in Utah for his career. Career averages of 10, 2, and 1 on 42% shooting from the field, 36% from 3. His first couple years in Utah, he was nice. I mean, he finished in the MIP voting. 1 year in 2016, he averaged 14 points. Then finished almost top 10 in Sixth Man of the Year in 2018. And then after 2018 with the after he got traded to the Cavaliers, things just kind of fell. Cleveland, he was solid. In Portland, he had that one game. He had that one moment in Portland where a playoff in the quadruple overtime game, he won the game for them, scoring a couple points in that quadruple overtime. Then after that, Portland, Toronto, Milwaukee, last played with the Clippers in 2022, played 13 games. Just kind of crazy how quickly he's kind of just fallen off and not in the NBA anymore. But still a decent NBA career. Played over almost 450 games. That's pretty nice. Not many people can say that they did that. With the 25th pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Houston Rockets select Jabari Parker from Duke. Parker, originally the 2nd overall pick in this draft, he drops all the way down to 25th, but still gets drafted in the first round. Parker was, amazing in high school, amazing year at Duke, 2nd overall pick, had a lot of hype, and just unfortunately never really lived up to it. Injuries played a huge factor, obviously. Only had 1 year or 2 years where he played over 60 games in his NBA career. Was around the league. In Milwaukee, he had one good year in 2017. He averaged 20 points per game. But since then, Went around, went Chicago, Washington, Atlanta, Sacramento, Boston was the last time he played in 2022. He played 12 games over there. Just really unfortunate how things kind of played out for Jabari. Injuries are taking a big part. He's overseas now. He had that clip that went viral a little while ago where he got pretty emotional about not being in the NBA anymore, which really, really sucks. But Parker still goes in the first round of this redraft, and hopefully he goes off overseas. Hopefully, I think he's been pretty good overseas, where he could play for overseas for a little while longer and get some more money playing basketball. That's really nice to see. With the 26th pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Miami Heat select Tyler Johnson out of Fresno State. This pick ends up going to the Charlotte Hornets. Johnson was originally undrafted, the third undrafted guy that ends up being a first round pick in the redraft. Johnson, not in the NBA any longer, but really popped off. I mean, in Miami, he was really nice. He had a year where he finished almost top 10 and sixth man of the year, got paid a lot. In 5 years in Miami, he averaged 11 points per game, was really, really solid. Then was around the league, went in Phoenix, Brooklyn, Philly. He played in San Antonio last. He played 3 games in 2022 with San Antonio. Hasn't been able to really get back into the NBA. But when he was playing, he was really good at rough and tough point guard or go combo guard that can handle the ball, loves to get to the basket, decent 3-point shooter. Just did a lot of grit and grind type of things, which is why he really was successful in Miami. So yeah, Tyler Johnson. Shout out to Tyler Johnson, man. Played over 354 games, career averages of almost 10 points and 10 points, 3 rebounds, almost 2 assists. That's solid. With the 27th pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Phoenix Suns select Dante Exum from Australia. This pick ends up going to the Sacramento Kings. Exum, originally the 5th pick in this draft, he drops all the way to 27. Exum back in the league now, so maybe he can go up a little bit more. Exum just never really found himself in this league. Had a lot of injuries that really messed him up. For his career, 300 games, 6 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and counting, because now he's back. Just never found himself. In Utah, he has some moments here and there, but I mean, he had a lot of hype coming out, being a 6'5" point guard that can handle the ball, defend, facilitate, do a lot of things, and just never really worked out. Again, injuries have played a huge part in that. Then he went to Cleveland, played a little bit in Cleveland. Then last 2 years he was overseas, and came back to the NBA last year with the Mavericks. It was solid. I actually had probably his best year of his NBA career. So now he's still in the Mavericks. Maybe this is where he kind of figured himself out. Was a lot better of a 3-point shooter, still a solid defender. And so maybe this is the time where Exum kind of finds himself back in the league and plays a little bit longer than people expect him to. So credit to Dante Exum for finding his way back into the NBA. With the 20th pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Los Angeles Clippers select Langston Galloway out of St. Joseph's. Galloway, another undrafted guy, that ends up finishing, first round in the NBA redraft. Galloway made all-rookie team, career averages of 8, 2, and 1 in 452 games. But yeah, he popped off right away. He was an undrafted guy, made the Knicks, averaged 12 points per game, made all-rookie team. He was amazing. He's been around the league, went to New Orleans, Sacramento, Detroit, Phoenix, Brooklyn. Last played in Milwaukee in 2022. He played 3 games. He's been on Team USA select teams. Has played for Team USA overseas and other tournaments and stuff. Was on this year's Team USA team as a select team. Played a couple games in the scrimmages. But Galloway, he's solid. A little guard that knows how to score the ball. That's what he is. And yeah, pretty nice. An undrafted dude that ends up being, a guy that Team USA goes and picks and makes him. He's traveled all around to play basketball for Team USA. That's something really nice. Something not a lot of other people can say they've done. So shout out to Langston Galloway, man. With the 29th pick in the 2014 NBA redraft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Shabazz Napier out of UConn. Napier originally the 24th pick. He drops a little bit, still finishes in the first round. Napier, for his career, averaging 7 points, 2.5 assists, 2 rebounds. Just a little guard. He had a magical run at UConn. Being from Connecticut, UConn fan, I really wanted Shabazz Napier to work out in the NBA, man. I really wanted Shabazz to work out. To see the run he went on in 2014, where he went on, had a Kemba Walker-esque run to win a championship, was nice. Just unfortunately, he could never find himself in the NBA. Went around in Miami, Orlando, Portland, Brooklyn, Minnesota. His last played in 2020 in Washington. He actually had his best year. He averaged 11 points per game in Washington. So in 20 games, that was nice. But yeah, just can never really find himself in the NBA with his skill set. Being small is really tough. At 6 foot, scoring point guard, that's not elite. It's just really, really tough mold. But Napier, had a decent NBA career. I think he's still in the G League now, and hopefully he can get some more money playing basketball. And with the 30th and final pick of the 2014 NBA redraft, the San Antonio Spurs select Glenn Robinson III out of Michigan. Robinson, originally the 40th pick, he finishes now in the first round of the redraft. Robinson, for his career, averaged 6 points, 2 rebounds, shot 45% from the field, won a dunk contest in 300 games he's played. So, yeah, I mean, Robinson, kind of also another guy that is interesting how he just kind of fell out the face of the league. Like, he won a dunk contest in Indiana, he was solid. Then had 48 games in Golden State, averaged 13 points. Went to Philly, last played in 2020, Sacramento, and averaged 5 points. Now he's not in the NBA. I don't know where he is. He's probably in the G League right now, I would assume. But yeah, Glenn Robinson, I mean, he won a dunk contest. So that's kind of why I gave him the last spot in the redraft. But yeah, it's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn on notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. Really upset a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.